Once more unto Uncle Gobb and the Dread Shed, Chapter 9. No more dread sheds. A long time ago, when the Beatles sang nicely and everyone was happy, the Prime Minister, a different Prime Minister, said, "I don't think locking up poor children in sheds is a very nice thing to do. No more dread sheds." And there weren't. Uncle Gobb's father, who was called Father Gobb, was furious. "That's where all the trouble started," he shouted at little Uncle Gobb, who wasn't Uncle Gobb at the time. He was little Derek Gobb, and his sister was, as we know, Tess Gobb. "When some stupid fathead abolished dread sheds, that was the end of everything. Children stopped respecting their mothers and fathers, teenage boys became teenagers, and people started doing bad things." Tess said, "Father Gobb, teenage boys would be teenagers because, they were teenagers?" At this, Father Gobb became even more furious. "I say the River Tiber will run with blood," he shouted at Tess, the thunder flying out of his nostrils. What he actually meant was that a whole lot of awful stuff will happen, even dying. This was a rather strange thing for him to say, because the River Tiber is in Ponky. The River Tiber is in Rome. The reason why I made that mistake, calling Rome Ponky, will be explained later. Please don't expect everything to be in the right order in this book. So, little Derek Gobb, who always wanted to please Father Gobb, made a special vow, a special promise. For his father's sake, he would save a dread shed. If that silly Prime Minister thought he could get rid of all the dread sheds, he was wrong. He, little Derek Gobb, would save one. So that night, when all was dark and cats prowled the streets looking for open bedroom windows so that they could hang about outside making a howling noise, little Derek Gobb scurried through the shadows lit by the whites of his own eyes. He was heading for the nearest dread shed. In his pocket were 127 very small wheels called casters, which he had stolen off all the bottoms of armchairs and sofas at the nearest department store, called Ramsay's, your local department store. He approached the dread shed, which sat menacingly in a dell next to the gasworks. Fearlessly, he stuck all 127 casters under the edges and corners of the dread shed, and then silently, slowly, carefully and secretly, using the old rope, for which he had paid money, as in money for old rope, he pulled the dread shed through the cat-prowly-howly streets all the way home. Then, cunningly, clever, wisely and coolly, he nudged the dread shed into the backyard of their family home. And there he is, pulling the dread shed on 127 casters. Then he wrote a note. "Dear Father, when you get up and come downstairs, you will see a large shed-like building in our backyard. It is a dread shed, which I have captured, for, Father, I have listened to your words of wisdom and acted upon them. This dread shed will keep alive forever the glory that is the dread shed, and when the time comes, just as one day King Arthur will rise from the cave wherein he sleeps to save our kingdom, so our dread shed will arise and save our kingdom too. Love, or something like it, in case that sounds too soppy, Derek." And little Derek Gobb dropped this note on the pillow beside Father Gobb's head, even as he lay sleeping. That's why in the morning Father Gobb did not wake up, go downstairs and say, "What the blooming hell is this shed doing in our backyard?" Instead, he looked longingly and lovingly at the dread shed and slapped Derek around the top of his head, because that was the only way Father Gobb knew how to say thank you to his children. And now little Derek Gobb had grown up. He had become Uncle Gobb, and the dread shed had stayed with him in his life. It didn't blow up in the blam. It lurked in a corner of the backyard. Next, chapter 10.